Hi, welcome to If You Live It. I'm Mason Wooldridge, author of If You Live It, and this video where we're diving deeper into witnessing peace, victorious peace. This is the final diving deeper video of this series where we have covered all 12 chapters, all 12 steps, where we've gone into more detail on the devotional side of what each of these chapters look like. Coming next will be the how-to, much more the nuts and bolts of each one of these steps. But for now, just know this video that you have in your hands is the first time I've shared with the world in the entire thing exactly what took place when God presented the full nature of God to this individual here, and why life has never been the same since. There are no single timestamps for this video because the entire thing is a conversation taken in one breath to you from God about the nature of divinity. Much love, peace, and happiness. Get busy living. Welcome to If You Live It, a pathway to freedom. A book, a journey, a channel, a community, a website, a pathway to God, a pathway to truth. I'm Mason Wooldridge. I'm the author of this book, the author of this channel, the creator of this thing, this community, this 12-step group, this gift from God. I have no ownership over the words today or any of the words that have been in any of these videos in the past. I have no ownership over this material. This, to be completely honest with you, this book has been written and delivered and given by God. I am but a channel for it, but a vessel to allow it to come through. One of the greatest gifts and blessings of my entire life is the fact that I get to serve God by serving you in this way. Today, in this video, we're going to explore that a little more by talking about peace, victorious peace, enlightenment. What is it? What isn't it? How do you get there? How is this a pathway that can help you reach that point, reach that goal, reach that finish line? That's really just the beginning of an entirely different journey. Thank you for being here. If you've been here this entire time, God bless you. If you are finding this for the first time, God bless you. If you're finding it for the first time, go back. Dive into what God has created, what God has provided, what the universe has put together in a program free to you, with no barrier of entry, that you can start right now to transcend fear in all of its forms, to find freedom from your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and to come face to face with the reality of God present while working this program. There is no way you can work this program and not find yourself at the end of it where your life has changed, where there's more love and joy and peace and acceptance and willingness and courage coursing through your very veins. There is no way, if you work these steps integrally, 1 through 12, that constitutes this book, and you apply it to your life and the religious and spiritual principles in it, you apply them to your life, you serve your community, you forgive everyone all the time, around the clock, no matter what, you surrender everything over to God, you continue a daily contact through gratitude with your Creator for giving you this life and this opportunity, your life is going to be different, better, more so than anything you could possibly do in your life. This has been given to you as an opportunity for your life to change now. This entire catalog, which can be found on www.ifyouliveit.com, go to the catalog tab, see what's available, go down to the collection page, and everything is there for you to start your journey now. No barrier, no cost. There is a book called If You Live It that's coming out in May. You can buy it if you want. I don't care if you buy it. There's a YouTube channel, which you're probably watching this through, that is growing in numbers and subscribers and views all the time. These videos can be found going back through our catalog, or you can go to the website and you can find it all in one place, the book in one place for free under the catalog function. Our deliberate devotion blog under the catalog function, our conversations about spiritual truths under the catalog function, and then the entire collection there for you, waiting for you to unwrap as a gift for you. The entire impetus for this whole thing of If You Live It, as a community, as a program, as a book, as being shared with the world, is so that you have an opportunity to reach the doorway of enlightenment in this lifetime. Is for you to come from a place where you are walking in the footsteps of Jesus, where you are embodying the teachings of Krishna, where you are living out the Noble Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths, where you are one with the way in Taoism. All of them taking you to the same place with the aid of this book, which is to a union with God, a realization of the self with a capital S. And none of this material is being brought to you by something other than that which witnesses it and observes it currently. I am not coming to you from a person who has read about it and hopes this to be true. I am coming to you from the mountaintop, speaking to you about what the views are and what it takes to get there. And let's talk about it. I have yet to expound on the moments when everything changed. This entire video catalog, this entire book is a journey and escalating upwards, an evolution of consciousness to take you to the point where you have your own mountaintop experience that isn't just for a quick respite, but is your life moving forward. The greatest gift you can give to yourself and the world around you, your loved ones, your community, your state, your country, your business, is chasing after God, growing as close to truth as possible until you become it, until it exudes from you, emanates from your pores, until you are a channel to be used by God yourself. The reality is, for most of my life, I was riddled with fear, hiding from God, wondering about the truths that religions presented, wondering about, is God real? Why are we here? What's the point of it all? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Doesn't anything matter? And at the root of it is there God. My life as a young person was characterized by this incessant need to know if God is real. Really starting right after my father died when I was 11 years old. And this need became pronounced. It was all that was present for years, and everything else rolled around it. Life's rolled around it. Sports rolled around it. Girlfriends rolled around it. Schools rolled around it. Friends rolled around it. At the root of everything happening internally around the clock was this desire, this yearning to know, is God real? Because, to be quite honest, if it wasn't going to be an opportunity where I experience God the way Jesus experienced God, the way that Krishna speaks about experiencing God, if I didn't know God personally, imminently, as a reality, I was going to kill myself. Because who cares? If this place is just about relativity, if this place is just about science, is just about philosophy, is just about religion, is just about having sex, is just about buying things, it's just, I didn't want it. Because who cares? None of those things created happiness in my life ever. They create brief moments where you are hypnotized to the fact that something is better than it was before, but then you're just left wanting more of that thing, and that thing that you wanted is no longer even that valuable, and the glamour has worn off, and you're left back with yourself, with your fears, your guilts, your shames, your remorses, your anger, your pride, your resentments, your apathy, your grief. I didn't want it. At 20 years old, I was getting ready to leave for basic training for the Air Force. And God presented the eternal nature of God in the form of love everywhere to this person speaking to you. And in that extended moment, which on our earth plane lasted about an hour with the time coming back into focus, during that time, there was no time. There was no body. There was no mason. There was no space. There was nothing except the absolute presence of God in the form of love, filling up an entire living room, filling up the experience of one person and sitting in front of another person. We go into this in other chapters. We go into this moment in the book. We go into this in other ways in other videos. But from that point forward, I knew God was real and I wasn't going to kill myself. I knew God was real. I knew why I was here. I knew what this whole thing was about. This perfect clarity was presented. And then I left the presence of God that night and went back into a subjective reality where that presence was no longer there. And I was left with the fear of how do I tell the world about this? Because who I was at that point in time was not interested in being integrous, was not interested in being filled with truth, was not interested in being someone you should emulate, was not interested in living a life. Well, to be quite honest, I didn't even know what living a life based on now knowing this truth looked like, because the religion I grew up with in Christianity, in that moment with God, was not present. There was no Christianity. There was no any religion. It was just God. And there was more questions now than answers. The biggest question was answered, but this question now haunted me. Because not only did I know God was real, but when I asked, what am I here for? It was answered. And the answer scared me because I didn't know how to be this thing or talk about this thing. And I knew I was a phony. And who am I to tell the world God is real when all I want to do is get drunk and have sex? To be quite honest, that's where I was. Get drunk, do drugs, have sex, do whatever I wanted to do. It wasn't chase after God, and it wasn't even to know how to even do that. So this gift at the time felt wasted. It felt like a curse. Because once God finally was there in a way that was undeniable, where there was no more wondering about, where the fear of death was now gone, what was left with, what do I do with life? And then for 12 years, I drank myself into a hiding place that was culminating in killing myself. During that process, I had 2 near-death experiences where I re-experienced the reality of God present, going towards that great light. During that time, miracles happened. Wonderful things took place during that 12 years, but the overall characterization of that 12 years was hiding from a calling, hiding from truth, hiding from chasing after God, hiding from having faith, hiding from being that which is presenting this to you today. 32 years old, about 8 years ago, life had taken me to a place where I was planning on how I was going to kill myself. I was a drop down in the gutter, depraved alcoholic who was crying himself to sleep every night, drunk, spitting up blood, defecating blood, who did not see that life in any way whatsoever was worth living any longer. And then God presented a question in the form of sanity and presence yet again. And it wasn't as strong as 20, but it was time stopping again. And the question was, are you going to continue to choose the world and what you know and die? Or are you going to choose me and have faith that there is a life that you're here to live that you haven't been choosing? Now, in that moment, I knew what life had looked like. And what God did in that moment was provide sanity and gave me an actual image of what life was and where it was going and where it could go. But I didn't know where it could go other than I had this feeling, this sensation that as not worth living life was at that moment, it was very much worth living from a different place. But I had to do something different to understand what that was, to experience it, to be it. And that's where faith was chosen. Faith for the first time was chosen in not knowing how to experience God and chase after God, except this inkling that arose that said, you need to go to AA. And so I couldn't go right at that moment, but the next day I went. And for 12 straight months, every day, I went to at least one meeting. I got a sponsor. I worked the 12 steps. I regained sanity full time. I became of service to my community, and I became a human again. And in this process, in working these steps, in finding these rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, I felt like my life had restarted back to that moment of being 20 and God was present again. Present in a way that I had prayed for from 11 years old to 20. Present in a way that, again, I didn't know what this life was going to look like or where it was going to lead, but present in a way where it felt like I was being pulled at light speed towards what is present for you today. In March of 2018, that night was July 4th, 2017. In March of 2018, this physical body was leaving a workout in the state of Indiana, in the city of Indianapolis, at the National Institute of Fitness and Sport, this great facility there in the heart of Indianapolis, and was headed towards a grocery store. And as I was pulling into the parking space at the grocery store, everything changed. Everything. As I'm sitting there and the sidewalk is seen in front of me and I've parallel parked and there's a small tree to the left and the grocery store is just up to the left, all of a sudden, woof, 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 and nothing. Nothing. But the splendor of God. I have no idea how long this body sat in that car, but an overwhelming ecstasy presented itself. It presented itself in the form of perfection. It presented itself in a knowingness, in a subjective reality of seeing how everything is one thing. And in hyper-realistic colors and experience, all was being witnessed from the lens, no longer separate, but one. The self was realized. It's never been the same since. This thing called enlightenment is real. No person is enlightened. Because once this condition sets in as a subjective reality, a lens of awareness, an interoperability with the world, you see you're not you any longer. The ego mind has been transcended to where you no longer operate from it. It is no longer the primary operating mechanism. The illusion of separateness is gone. And you see that God is everything. You see the illusion of the self with a small s. You see the illusion that you're doing anything. You see the illusion of life in exchange for the reality of life with a capital L. And it is glorious. And it is filled with ecstasy. And it is victorious peace. And it is beyond words. Beyond words. Beyond description. And from that moment until now has been one perfect moment after another, after another, after another. This world is no longer experienced from a lens of singularity. Duality has ceased to exist. Cause and effect no longer holds any bearing. And the paradigm of religion and science and everything below the direct witness and observation of God present as all things ceases to hold any value. It is not that things of the world are no longer part of the persona of what's speaking to you. It's not as if the content of the world is an illusion in the way that you have to operate within it with this human form. It's that you see the definitions we give to it, you see through the outer shell, and you see the molecular makeup of a thing. You see how it interplays with everything else. You see how everything meshes into one thing. You see how a need is answered before you ever realized it was a need. You see how the mind operates behind actual reality presenting itself and then only provides a definition of perception based on where you are consciously for that thing arising. You are not your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. Nothing that comes from physicality is what you actually are. When you see that, you're never the same again. This pathway is born from that. This pathway has validity because it's not fake. It's not being reported to you by someone who doesn't see this, who doesn't come from this place, who doesn't know what was part of this and then shares it through this pathway. There's nothing wasted in if you live it. There is no untruth in if you live it. There is nothing but a definable pathway for you to have the same experience. You truly do not know who Jesus is and was, Krishna is and was, the Buddha is and was, Lao Tzu is and was, Dr. Hawkins is and was, and so many more, until you come from a place where you are their teaching. And so today, what is delivered to you is truth from a vantage point and a perspective that you too can come from and know the validity of it for yourself. This book, if you live it, this community, this video, this website, everything that's part of it is coming from this vantage point. It's coming from God. The words coming to you now, you see a mouth moving, but they're not coming from Mason. There is so much in this life that you can experience and witness and be a part of that's so much greater than what you think you are currently. It doesn't matter what's happened to you. It doesn't matter where you find yourself. It doesn't matter what clothes you're wearing. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter your gender, your race, your ethnicity. Nothing matters when you chase after God, because the pursuit of God delivers you to a place where you see all of that is an illusion anyways. It doesn't matter if you don't have food to eat, chase after God. It doesn't matter if you don't have money to spend, chase after God. It doesn't matter if you have love in your life, chase after God. It doesn't matter if you have parents, chase after God. It doesn't matter anything. If you have a checking account, if you have a phone, if you have a home, none of this matters. Chase after God. This world was created for us, these sparks of the infinite, to manifest into physicality as a locality of consciousness, to have this experience, to see that anything other than God is an illusion. Some of you who are watching this have been praying for this your entire life. Some of you who are watching at this, who would laugh at this, will come back to it. If you want to have real faith in your religious figurehead, pursue enlightenment. Chase after God. Surrender everything. Forgive everyone. Serve in any way you can. And don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Around the clock. From July of 2017 until March of 2018, around the clock, there was nothing but diving into the world of Dr. Hawkins and consciousness, diving headfirst into these 12 steps in AA, diving headfirst into surrender and forgiveness and service. There was a round-the-clock pursuit of God that hasn't stopped since. No matter where you find yourself in this journey, there's always more God. The only way to reach love and unconditional love is to embody forgiveness and surrender. The only way to reach the final doorway of enlightenment is to legitimately forgive everyone for everything, is to surrender over all your beliefs, all your attachments, all your definitions, all your aversions, all your wants, all your desires, all your cravings, everything you think you need, everything you believe you are, everything at the root of every thought and every feeling and every emotion and every interaction. It is actually living your life like a prayer through doing these things that puts you into the position where, with an intent set on God, the doorway will start showing you glimpses. You will see there is something far greater than that which the mind can comprehend. And you'll see that there is something that you can come from that is far greater than what your thoughts, feelings, and emotions provide. And then you see how piddly thoughts, feelings, and emotions are, and how piddly the body is, how piddly disease is, how piddly fears and worries and anxieties are. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you've done. It doesn't matter if you've been a murderer, a rapist, a thief, a philanderer, a cheater. It doesn't matter. A drug addict, an alcoholic. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you've been beaten and molested or if you've beaten and molested. It doesn't matter. Chase after God. Start now. Don't waste another minute, because the gift of knowing God changes everything forever. And whatever your past was remains part of the teaching of the persona that's left in the world that gets to share with the world the gift of what God actually is, and gains power because of its authenticity. Not because you hide from it, but because you use it in a way that it's not you deciding to use it, in a way where God is now using that as a message for others. What's happening in the world right now is fear. The collective ego does not want the next wave of those who are here to witness nirvana to have that experience. And it's doing its best to create chaos and seed fear in any way it can. If you want to change what's happening politically, chase after God. If you want to change what's happening financially in your life, chase after God. If you want to change the depression, the anger, the pride, the remorse, the grief, the apathy, the guilt, chase after God. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't. It doesn't matter if you find yourself incarcerated. It doesn't matter. You are not a victim. Everything happens for you. The ego tries to convince you that everything happens to you. You have to let go of that belief system. You have to let go of your attachment to being wronged. What's being wronged? The body? The mind? You're not these things. You have a body, you're not the body. There's a mind, you're not the mind. The mind spins off thoughts, feelings, and emotions. You're not those either. So what is it that's even being wronged? It's your belief that you are these things that creates the positionalities, the judgments, the resentments. You can have the same experience as this entity speaking to you because this entity is having this experience. I am no different than you. We are all the same thing. We all operate out of a context that's far greater that we arise out of, called consciousness, which is just one aspect of an infinite creator, like love is one aspect. But they are these immovable contexts. And consciousness has an evolutionary scale in a rudimentary way that we can see and understand through Dr. Hawkins' scale and map of consciousness. And you can move up it constantly with surrender and forgiveness and service and gratitude. You don't have to hide any longer. You can dare to dream that what I'm saying is true. Because you can chase after it yourself and find out. Don't take my word for it. Don't take Jesus' word for it. Don't take Krishna's word for it. Don't take the Buddha's word for it. Don't take Lao Tzu's word for it. Don't take Ramana Maharshi's word for it. You find out for yourself. If you live it as a pathway to help you find out, to know what to do next so you're always moving upward. Many blessings. I hope this video is of a blessing to you, and your world will forever be changed because of it. Many blessings.
Yeah.